Hello, good morning students, and welcome back once again to another video for the class 9 gravitation chapter. Now we finished the chapter. In the last video we did a numerical regarding the weight, and like I said, we will start with the revision for the whole chapter up till the syllabus provided by the CBSE. Okay, and the second part of the chapter has been omitted for this year and in the revised syllabus, but we will discuss it if we have a little bit time, because that point is still quite important and it will be helpful in your further studies if you choose science subject. Okay, so the first thing of the chapter is gravitation, that is the force of gravity. We know what gravitational force is by Isaac Newton, Appel fell and he discovered gravity. And gravitational force is a force with which an object applies attractive force on the other object. Okay, it is a non-contact force like we studied in 8th standard, and for that gravitational force Newton provided a universal law of gravitation. He said that every object in the universe applies the force on other object which is directly proportional to the product of their masses. So if you remember gravitational force, okay, it is directly proportional to the product of masses, that is m1 and m2, and he also said that it is inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. So force of gravity is inversely proportional to the square of distance between them, and this distance is taken to the center of the two masses, not from surface to surface. The distance is taken from center of one object to the center of other object, and we combine these two equations, and what we have is F proportional to m1 m2 upon d square, and this is the explanation of the universal law of gravitation. This over here, this relation describes the universal law of gravitational statement in one single formula. However, this relation cannot directly be used to find the force of gravitation. As we know, if we remove the proportionality sign, there is a constant that balances the equation, and in this case that constant is called universal gravitational constant, that is F is equal to G m1 m2 upon d square, and this G is universal gravitational constant, and its value is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11. Okay, the value of universal gravitational constant G is how much? G is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. This is universal gravitational constant. Always remember that. So after the universal law of gravitation, we have why is gravity important, or the importance of gravity, because it is the force that binds us to the surface of earth. If there is no gravitational force, then we might be floating around everywhere, but the gravitational force keeps us on the surface, and we are able to walk and do our many different things with the help of gravitational force. The other one is motion of celestial objects. So the moon is revolving around our earth, and earth along with the other planets revolving around the sun. This is possible because of the gravitational force only. If there were no gravitational force, the planets would not be able to revolve. They will keep on moving in a straight line, which brings us to the next topic, that is centripetal and centrifugal force. So the activity where a boy is taking a stone or a ball and attaching it with a string. Imagine that he moves the string, and with the help of that the stone in a circular motion. If he releases the string at any given point, the string and the stone will fly off in a straight line because there is a force which wants to keep the object in a straight line, and that force is centrifugal force, which wants to move the object in a straight line away from the circular motion. So as soon as it gets the chance, as soon as the boy releases the string, the centrifugal force will take the object in a straight line. But the force that is keeping it towards the center is the centripetal force. So the force which keeps the object keep on going in a circular motion towards the center is called centripetal force, and that centripetal force is acted by gravitational force when the celestial objects are moving around the sun. So the gravitational force acts as the centripetal force keeping all the objects in the circular motion, that is our planets, around the sun. If there were no gravitational force, there will be no centripetal force acting towards the sun, and the celestial objects and the planets will move on in a straight line. The other important is that the occurrence of tides, that is high tides and low tides, happens because of the gravitational force. And the last one is flow of rivers from the mountains is also once again happening because of the gravitational force, which helps us many villages nearby and many of the other our daily needs, that pure water provided in different parts and the cities is because of the rivers, and that is happening, the flow of rivers is happening because of the gravitational force. Okay, so that concludes our centripetal and centrifugal force. The other thing is free fall. What is free fall? So if the object is falling towards the surface of Earth under the influence of gravitational force only, I repeat once again, if the object is falling towards the surface of Earth under the influence of gravitational force only, then such a fall of an object is called free fall. And when the objects are falling towards the Earth in free fall, they all have the same gravitational force acting on it, and therefore the acceleration of all the objects is same, which means that if I throw a marker or a pen together, they both will fall at the same exact time, okay, and they will take the same exact time to reach the surface. That means they both will fall with the same acceleration and same velocity because of the free fall, okay. But some objects like the feather or a paper, if I make the marker or a pen fall along with the feather or paper, you will know that the feather falls slowly because there is air around us as well, and the fluid friction is acting on the feather more than the marker or a pen, and that is why the fluid friction acting on the feather keeps it from falling very quickly. On the other hand, the marker does not have fluid friction as much on it, and therefore it falls quickly. But let's say that we have an environment, okay, in which we have sucked out all the air, and once again we take the feather and the marker, and when we release them, they both will fall once again with the same velocity, and they will take the same time, because now there is no air to stop the fall of the feather, and that is why fluid friction is no more restricting the flow of the fall of the feather, and that is why they both will be in free fall, and they will be falling with the same velocity and same gravitational force. I hope it is clear to you, students, that free fall is actually the gravitational force which is acting on the objects, but now when there is no other force acting on it, and it is falling only under the influence of gravitational force only, okay. Acceleration due to gravity. Now obviously when the object is falling, it is moving, and when it moves, there is always acceleration because there is change in velocity that we studied from the very first chapter. But what is the acceleration for the force of gravity? And for that, we will take the Newton's second law itself. The Newton's second law states that F is equal to mass into acceleration. That is the mass of the object which is falling. And with what acceleration it is falling? That acceleration we need to find out. And this force is the gravitational force. The force is the gravitational force, and now we have the formula for the gravitational force. So the formula for gravitational force F is G N1 N2 upon d square. Now because the object is towards the surface of Earth, this distance can be taken as radius of the Earth, and therefore we are removing the distance and writing it as radius of the Earth. Now all of these things are constant, even the object's mass as well. We substitute the value of this gravitational force over here because these two forces are the same. Whether you find mass into acceleration, that is Newton's second law, and the gravitational force of the earth, we substitute these values over here, and what you get is G m1 m2 upon r square equals m into a. Now what is this m1? This m1 is the mass of the object which is falling. So this mass 1, this is also the same thing, mass 1 of the object m1. And what is m2? m2 is the mass of earth. Similarly, what is r? r is the radius of earth. So this is the universal gravitational constant whose value does not change. This is mass of the earth. Once again, it remains constant, and the radius of earth also remains constant. And this mass of the object and the mass of the object, they are same values, so they can be cancelled out. So what we have remaining over here is simple gravitational constant, mass of earth and radius of earth square equals acceleration. And this acceleration is happening because of the gravitational force of earth, and that is why it is called acceleration due to gravity given by the small g. Okay, so its symbol is small g. Small g. Do not get confused between the capital G and the small g. This is gravitational constant, this is constant, and this is acceleration which is happening because of gravity. I hope it is clear to you, students. Now because of this acceleration, every object under free fall will have this value, and because these all are constant, we substitute the values, that is gravitational constant 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11, mass of earth, that is 5.98 into 10 raised to 24 kilograms, radius of earth, that is 6.4 into 10 raised to 6 meters, then you get the answer, that is 9.8 meters per second square. Because it is acceleration, we use the unit of acceleration as well. So the gravitational acceleration happening on every object under free fall is 9.8. 9.8 meters per second square. I hope it is clear to you, students. The next point is equations of motion due to free fall. So the equations of motion, if you remember, we studied about the equations of motion in the very first chapter, that is V is equal to U plus AT, S is equal to UT plus half AT square, and 2AS equals V square minus U square. So in this case, now all of these equations of motion define the free fall of an object, that is because of the gravitational force, and for that the acceleration is happening because of gravity, and when the acceleration is happening because of gravity, we use this value 9.8. So I can write the value of g over here. So the equation becomes V is equal to U plus GT, S is equal to UT plus half GT square, and 2GS equals V square minus U square. The other thing is, whenever the object is falling, it is falling from a certain height, and that height is the distance with which it is falling. So wherever there is distance or displacement, that is s, we take as the height. In this case also, the s, that is distance, so we take height, that is 2gh equals v square minus u square. So the three equations of motion are defined in this way if they are in free fall. The next thing is mass and weight. So this was a little confusing topic, because up till now, wherever we used weight, that is, we describe it as 48 kilograms, 50 kilograms, but that is not the weight, that is mass. Mass is described in kilograms, whatever the value. Okay, so let's say that the object is of 50 kilograms, so that is not its weight, that is its mass. So what is weight? Weight is nothing but the force. Okay, it is nothing but the force, and force happening because of gravity. And for this, we simply find F is equal to m into A. That is mass into acceleration, because it is the weight. Okay. So this acceleration is happening because of gravity, and therefore we use this acceleration as small g. So ultimately, what is weight? Weight is nothing but gravitational force acting on the object. What is weight? Weight is nothing but gravitational force acting on the object. This is how we describe the weight of an object. Mass is in kilograms, weight is a force, and therefore it is in newtons. I hope it is clear to you, students. The last topic of this particular chapter is regarding the weight of an object on moon. So we did know that whenever we find the weight, it means mass into acceleration, correct? And this acceleration is happening on the surface of Earth. That is, g is equal to gravitational constant, mass of Earth, and radius of Earth whole square. But this is only possible only on the surface of Earth. As we go away from the surface of Earth, this mass of Earth and radius of Earth changes. And that is why if we are on the surface of moon, that means mass on the object, mass of the object and acceleration on moon. So we cannot use 9.8. And for that we require the acceleration on moon. And for acceleration on moon, that is g, mass of moon and radius of moon square. Or we can find the ratio as well, and we did all the derivation, and ultimately what we came to the conclusion is that weight on moon is equal to 1 by 6 the weight of Earth. So remember this, if you want to find the weight of an object on moon, then all you need to do is take 1 by 6 and multiply it with the weight on the surface of Earth. That is, 1 by 6 of the weight of Earth gives us the weight of moon. That is this map of the whole chapter. If you have any doubts regarding any of the topics, I'll be happy to help. Till then, have a nice day.